Causes of the Renaissance. The Renaissance is generally considered to have started in Florence, Italy around the years 1350 to 1400. Humanism. One of the major changes from the Middle Ages to the Renaissance was the basic way people thought about things. In the Middle Ages, people thought life was supposed to be difficult. They grew up thinking life was only hard work and war. Around the 1300s, the people of Florence, Italy started thinking about life differently and began studying the writing and works of the Greeks and Romans. Through this investigation, they realized people in earlier civilizations had lived much differently. This new way of thinking was called humanism. People began believing life could be enjoyable and they could have comforts. They felt people should be educated and things like art, music, and science could make life much better for everyone. This was a major change in the way people thought. Florence, Italy. Italy was divided into more than 200 powerful city-states at the beginning of the Renaissance. These areas were ruled by a large city. Each city-state had its own government, different from the feudal system of fiefs common in Europe during the Middle Ages. One of the major city-states was Florence. The government that ran Florence was a republic, like ancient Rome, so citizens elected their own leaders. In the late 1300s, Florence became a rich city. Wealthy merchants and businessmen had money to hire artisans and craftspeople, inspiring competition among artists and thinkers. Art started to flourish and new thoughts emerged. The Medici family. In the 1400s, the Medici family came into power in Florence. They were wealthy bankers and helped the arts progress by sponsoring many artists. They used their own personal funds to further the humanist movement. Petrarch and humanism. Francesco Petrarch is often known as the father of humanism. He was a scholar and poet who lived in Florence in the 1300s. He studied poets and philosophers from ancient Rome, like Cicero and Virgil. Petrarch was an inspiration to many writers and poets throughout Europe as the Renaissance spread. Giotto da Bondone, the first Renaissance painter. Giotto was a painter in Florence, Italy, and was the first to break away from the traditional Byzantine-style painting in the Middle Ages and try something new. He painted objects and people as they actually looked in nature. Before, artists had painted more abstractly and unrealistically. Giotto is said to have started the Renaissance in art with his new realistic style of painting. Dante. Dante Alighieri was another major contributor to the start of the Renaissance who lived in Florence. He wrote the Divine Comedy in the early 1300s, a book considered the greatest literary work ever written in the Italian language. Muslims. The Italian city-states depended on trade with networks that expanded all around the Mediterranean Sea. Many of these were controlled by Muslims, who brought wealth and an exchange of ideas between Europeans and Muslims. Muslim-ruled areas such as Seville and Granada were major centers of study. Muslim thinkers were strongly influenced by Greek philosophy, especially Aristotle's ideas. During the Middle Ages, Muslims made many scientific and cultural advances. They had several medical breakthroughs and used drugs to cure diseases. Muslim mathematicians used their knowledge of the Indian number and decimal system to make new discoveries in mathematics. Muslims made advancements in astronomy, geography, and architecture. This knowledge spread to Italy from Muslim traders. Italians used this knowledge to make advances in art and learning. Venetian trade routes encouraged indirect contact with places as far away as China. Europeans learned about the Chinese invention of block printing on wood and the process of paper making by the Chinese. New ideas spread. The new way of thinking and style of art quickly spread to other wealthy Italian city-states such as Rome, Venice, and Milan. This early part of the Renaissance is often called the Italian Renaissance. Italy became wealthy through trade, and their new ideas soon spread throughout Europe. Causes of the Renaissance. Matching. Match each term with its description. So you have 1 through 10, and you're going to match them with letters A through J. No letters are repeated, so you use everything once. 1. Florence. 2. Humanism. 3. Greeks and Romans. 4. City-states. 5. Medici family. 6. Petrarch. 7. Giotto. 8. Dante. 9. Muslims. 10. Venice. A. Humanists studied the works of these people. B. Often considered the father of humanism. C. Italy was divided into this government system. D. These people studied in Spain and spread knowledge. E. City-state in Italy where the Renaissance began. F. Powerful family in Florence, patrons of the arts. G. Wrote the Divine Comedy, Renaissance contributor. H. A change in the way of thinking from the Middle Ages. I. Along with Milan, the Renaissance spread here too. J. Painter who first started painting more realistically. So to find the answers for the matching, go back to the reading. Don't try to Google these A through J or 1 through 10. You need to go back into the reading to find the answers. If you Google it, you won't get the correct answers. True or false? Identify each statement as true or false. Same thing. You're going to go back to the reading to find these answers. Don't try to Google them. You won't get the correct answer. So you're just going to mark whether it's true or false. Number 11, the Renaissance occurred after the Middle Ages. Number 12, the Renaissance began in Rome, Italy. Number 13, the Medici family used others' money to hire artists. Number 14, Dante is often considered the father of humanism. 15, Giotto was the first to use a more realistic technique in art. 16, Muslim ideas traveled to Italy through trade routes. 17, the Italians learned the method of block printing from India. 18, humanism involves protecting one's country at all cost. 19, Muslim scholars studied the Greeks while in Spain. 20, the Italians studied the Greeks and Romans. Multiple choice, choose the best answers. So again, for multiple choice, go back to the reading to find these answers. You can't Google them. You won't find the correct answer by Googling. You'll get strange answers. 21, how did the philosophy of humanism mostly impact the Renaissance? A, people began studying the works of ancient civilizations. B, people saw the importance of an education. C, people studied the works of Petrarch. D, art became more realistic. 22, how did trade mostly impact the Renaissance? A, ideas were spread along trade routes. B, Muslims were able to travel to Italy. C, Italians were able to travel all around the world. Or D, navigation techniques improved due to the Renaissance. 23, which of the following best describes Muslims during the Renaissance? A, dangerous. B, exciting. C, innovative. Or D, threatening.